Hi everybody, welcome to this term's class of Geography 100. In this class we're going to be looking at a lot of stuff around geography all around the world, and I just want to say a few things in this introductory video. So basically I have four big things to say to you in this introduction video. First thing, get online, get on Canvas and read the syllabus. The whole thing, that way you're going to understand where we're going in this term from the beginning all the way to the end. The second thing, make sure you get the book because you're going to be reading the whole thing this term because the different modules link up to the book chapters. So the third thing I want to say is just sort of introduction to what it is that we're going to do in this class, which is we're going to be looking at all different aspects of how to understand the world, right? And one of the things about geography is that it's a way of looking at things that looks at the physical environment, it looks at the climate, it also looks at the human activity that goes on in places to kind of understand how the world works. And so most of you probably know in the geography classes, one of the big things you're supposed to know is where places are, right? But geography is really much more than that. That's really only the tip of the iceberg of what we're going to look at. And so, for instance, let me just back up and say, in geography, we really try to look at four questions when we're looking at a particular place. And so the first thing that we always ask is, where is something? Where is it, right? And so, for instance, right now, I am in Shanghai, in China, with a Keene State class. You can here turn and see everybody wave. All right. And so the first thing to know about Shanghai would be, where is it located, right? And so we know, most people know this, in China, and it's close to the Pacific Ocean, and it's really on the confluence between the Huangpu River and the Yangtze River. And that's one of the things that, just in terms of where it's located. But that's really not the most interesting things about Shanghai. So in geography, the first thing we ask is, what is it? But after that, where is it? The second thing we ask is, what is it? What is it that this place is like? Why is it that this is one of the largest metropolitan areas on the planet? Why do we have this kind of architecture across the river in this area that's called the Pudong New area? And then if we look that way, we see these old European kind of colonial style buildings. Well, so the second question we ask usually is, what is it about a place that makes it interesting? And so to answer that, the third thing that we ask in geography is kind of, how did a place come to be the way that it is? What's its history? We also look at things like, why did it come together as a city on the confluence of these two rivers? And part of it is because of the proximity of the Yangtze River. It was a good place where trade from the inside of China can come down the Yangtze River and then meet the trade that then goes across the Pacific to the rest of the world. And so that's one reason why you have such a big city here. But there's also a history of European colonialism, when the British were here, the French were here, the Americans were here, and controlled certain parts of Shanghai, and so that made it a really important trading hub. And then later, if we go back over here to Pudong, one of the things that then started happening is that they started developing some of this area across the riverfront as the city has really grown, and it's more than doubled in the last 10 to 20 years. So again, that third thing we look at is sort of, what is it, or how did a place come to be? The last thing we look at then, when we look at places, is sort of an ethical question, which is, should it be that way? We'll ask questions when we're looking at different places, like we'll say, is this, environmentally sustainable? Is this, really the way people want to live in a city of this size? These sort of questions. And so we usually ask kind of ethical questions about why places are the way they are. So throughout this semester, we'll get much more into these kinds of things, but I wanted to give you an idea of the approach that we're going to take in this class during this term. And so for now, make sure you get the book, make sure that you take a look at the syllabus, the whole thing, and if you do have any questions, always feel free to email me, and I'm looking forward to a good term. Thanks.